Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. We are looking at Path of Exile 2 strats just to see what's good and what's not. This one is a variation on the Juicy maps, Breach and Delirium, tier 14, tier 15 strat that's going round. Obviously it's pretty popular because Breach tends to drop a lot more loot, and when you pair that with Simulacrum or Delirious, it's even better. A little bit harder as well for some builds, but if your build can handle it with decent rarity, you're looking at quite good returns. So from this 20 map sample size, just doing this kind of variation, and that's pretty much one setup. So I wasn't going to go into 50 maps on this, just because it takes about an hour or so to actually get these into place. And on that, 12.5 divines I got back. 12 divines was probably the profit when I take away some of the tablets that I invested as well. And you're looking at things like chaos drops, loads of exalts, loads of vials, GCP chances. You're looking at simulacrum splinters, breach splinters, so they all cost quite a bit and they're easy to shift. It's really not hard in terms of converting all of these drops into currency and just cracking on. So yeah, so the actual strat itself then, looking at the towers, once you've got 4 or 5 or 6 in the right place, they will overlap and you can start juicing up and getting breach. So I used 2 breach tablets, 4 irradiated tablets I think. I was looking at quantity of increased items. So the juiciest maps I got were like 90%, 80, 90%. And the lesser juicy ones as you go more towards the outside are like 30, 40%. So you can go crazy with it, you can invest loads more money into getting perfect tablets and your quant could be probably over 100%, but that costs more, takes more effort, more trading. I'm just essentially looking at quite low effort, low investment, because I just don't think you get the money back if you invest more in terms of like your time that you're spending on it. So yeah, it's a pretty simple strat overall. I mean, there's not much to it, it's just get quicker at doing the maps and get quicker at picking up currency. That's my main tip that I've learned along the way. Is I see a lot of people that kind of sit on the drops and then go back and pick it all up, but that does take time. If you can get quicker at clicking, then you're going to get quicker at making money, and it's all about speed really. So yeah, go into the map, look for the breach, clear everything out. Obviously we're looking for rares as well, so your map should reflect that as well, and you want to roll those quite well. Just as an example, I tend to just roll everything in bulk, add all of the instills to it, and then corrupt it, and then maybe you'll end up with a map that's like that, but that's pretty special. I'm going to run that at another point, but that's a pretty big map. So it's high delirious, loads of mods on it as well. As Elon says, there's more than 5 things on it, so it's good. But yeah, looking for something like this. It's not too crazy. Tier 14 or tier 15. Obviously that's quite low in terms of delirious, which could have an impact on your splinters and things like that, and just the difficulty is going to be a bit less. But yeah, 20 to 30% with good exalt slams on the map as well. Make sure that they don't brick your build. So yeah, all I'd do is I'd go over here, I'd look for a juicy map, I'd chuck it in, and bam, we're going. And we're mainly looking for breach on these. If you get a ritual as well, I did actually find an audience with a king, but I left that out of this because it doesn't happen all the time. So I ran that and actually, yeah, got my first ritual point since I began the game. So some things are rarer than others, but yeah, anyway, I digress. So once you get the map together, increased quantity is always going to be good, extra rarity is going to be good, more monsters, more rare monsters, and essentially mods that aren't going to break your build. So you can use a Regex. What I do is I've got a Regex here, I chuck it there, and it's just going to ignore some of the nasty map mods that I don't want. Whereas all of these guys, I mean, they're not ready to go yet, but this is what I do. I'd take that map, I'd roll it up, I'd exalt it, I'd add the delirious instills, and again, I was just going for like ires and guilts and greeds. You could go paranoia, could go for the more expensive ones on there, but I just don't really think it's that worth. Once you do that, corrupt it, set a load of maps aside, and just smash them out in a couple of hours, and that's essentially what I've done here. So the Atlas passives then, the setup is for Simulacrum is you want to have at least 2 points, and they would go to the waystones that have extra instilled emotion, so your delirium maps, and the extra chance of more splinters. If you can get the full 8, even better. You're going to get more fractured mirrors, which means you're going to get more splinters. You're going to get unique bosses, which also means you're going to get more loot, more splinters, maybe even divines. For the breach side, I just wanted to go for increased density, extra splinters essentially. You do take more damage there, so bear that in mind. And then this one's the important one, is that you could have extra % chance to get additional breaches. So out of those 20 maps, I only had one map with 10. So yeah, just tells you how often that spawns. And then breaches in your map open and close 30% slower, so that keeps everything open while you're blasting through it. The Atlas tree as well, I mean, I set this quite a long time ago, but unstable energies is what you're going to want. You're going to want more rare and unique monsters in the maps, bigger pack size, more rares, because rares are going to drop the loot in the breach especially, bigger packs. Waystones is just a kind of channel path to get there. Yeah, more quantity of items, more rarity as well. So once your Atlas tree is set up pretty much like this, you can play around with some stuff. Some people like local knowledge. I didn't really want to bother with that. I just kept it as is, and I'm not going to change things around based on the maps. But once you've got everything set up there, just start blasting. Obviously for me, the hard part is just setting everything up, because it's quite tedious. In general, really, the end game of PoE 2 could definitely be improved, but this is kind of what we've got to work with. And I just like the Breach and Delirium maps. They're fun to do. They are, you know, they ruin your computer. They drop your FPS. It feels fun when you're splashing through the screens. So that's why I quite like this. And obviously the money is decent. So once you've got all that set up, yeah, another tip I'll tell you is get everything kind of efficient. So in your hideout, make sure your stash is really close to your map device. When you come out of a map, you want to be able to just click it without moving, dump everything into the stash tab, get your next map, and then go. So if you've got your stash there, if you've got these guys right close to it, you can identify with a control click, you can sell it with a control click straight away. You got Elva there for currency. I've just tried to make everything close together just to be able to blast maps. And then yeah, I guess we'll look at the loot breakdown. So yeah, I've kept everything pretty much as is. I've sold some maps, but you get an idea of the currency there. So 6 raw divines that dropped, loads of other currency here. And looking at this in a bit more detail, so yeah, off of these 20 maps, 12.4 divines came back. 12 is essentially the profit. I mean, it's hard to kind of estimate rolling the maps and what they'll cost. I basically ran a load of simulacrum first, where I got the distilled emotions, and I used those on the maps, and I've just not used a ton of quantity. Some exalts go into that as well for the maps, but 20 maps could be another 40 or 50 exalt off of that, but just keeping it simple, this is roughly what you get back from those maps. So 6 divines, I mean, I got loads of chaos, loads of exalts, valves, GCPs, chances. The total of all that kind of loose currency is that 1219 exalt roughly. I mean, I've put these just lower because you might not sell them all. I did sell a bunch of tier 14 maps, so I took them out of this. Loads of tier 50 maps which I'm going to use to roll up again. So Delhi maps themselves, they drop with that simulacrum passive, so you get quite a few of those ones. And if you get high roll delirious maps, there'll be more than 1 exalt, which I've kind of roughly put down here. There'll be more like 4 or 5 exalt. So per hour it's like 6.8, 7 divines if I counted absolutely everything. It's a bit tricky in PoE 2 because we used to use wealthy exile to pretty much calculate the exact loot, whereas this I'm having to kind of work out stuff on the day, and it depends on the price and the fluctuation of divines and splinters and whatnot. But yes, with what we've got here, this is pretty much the money back. As you can see through that, there's a few divines. There's 1 stellar amulet, 1 good tablet which I did sell for 180x. That was from the ritual side, which are always going to sell quite well. You might not get these, you might get more divines, you never know. This is just going to be roughly what it is, but I did sort of 20 maps before on towers, kind of a similar approach with like low investment, not really worrying, and it was again around 80 to 100% on the quantity of items through the towers, and it came out roughly the same. So I just thought I'd do 1 round of setting up your towers, 20 maps, kind of 2 hours job, and that's just basically everything within this kind of circle really. Once you get further out, it's just not really that worth it. I mean, there's 47%, but there's no breach, 30%, and then you kind of go out wider, and there's less and less percent. So I just wanted to go for things that were roughly over 40-50% quantity. and it did work out pretty well. So yeah, so if you do want any extra info, you know, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer comments, but yeah, share your thoughts, what strats are working for you. Hope you found this useful anyway. With that, I'll see you on the next one.
She galvanized me, steady like steel, back on my feet, living for the thrill again, loving for another day. She satisfied me, gave me what I want, just what we need, never too far away, loving for another day. But she asked for something more. She asked for, yeah, she asked for something beautiful. She asked for, yeah, she asked for, she asked for something beautiful. She mystifies me, tell me what I did wrong, I plead. Never did I think we would be loving for another day. But she asked for something more. She asked for, yeah, she asked for something beautiful. Something